Hey everybody, welcome back to Tech Odyssey. So I'm back with my full review of the OnePlus 8. So, been using this phone for the last week, and there's a lot of things that I like about it. I genuinely do, especially at the $699 price point, but there's a lot of things that I also don't like about it. So, good in some ways, bad in the other, but at the end of the day, you still get flagship performance for $700 versus some of the competition, or even the more expensive OnePlus 8 Pro at $899 or $999. So it's a little bit of a give and take. So I have a mixed bag of impressions on it, but otherwise, mostly it's a good phone. So before I get into this, I do want to say if this is your first time stopping by the channel, I appreciate you being here. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell so you can get updates when new videos come out. Now, let's take a look at the OnePlus 8. All right, so the OnePlus 8 is a sharp-looking device, if not one of the best-looking devices I've seen in 2020. This is the Onyx Black color. It also comes in Glacial Green if you get it unlocked, and they have Interstellar Glow and apparently Polar Silver somewhere. It has a 4300 milliamp battery. Using the fast-charging 30-watt charger, you can get 50% in 22 minutes, which is pretty impressive. It's got a triple camera array on the back, sporting a 48 megapixel primary camera, a 16 megapixel wide angle, and a 2 megapixel macro lens. It's got a 6.55 inch AMOLED display with wonderful haptic feedback and also 90 hertz refresh rate, which makes watching and using things on your phone really enjoyable. Now, it's running Android 10 with the Oxygen OS. It's also got 8 gigabytes of RAM and 128 gigabytes of internal storage that's not expandable. Now, you can get a 256 model if you buy it unlocked, but not from the carrier. If you get it from a US carrier, it has IP68 dust and water resistance, which is really nice. It's also got a 16 megapixel front-facing selfie camera, which is capable of taking some pretty decent shots, and I'll talk more about that later. But overall, I think it's a pretty decent phone, especially at the $699 price point. Now, there are some compromises, which we're going to discuss, but overall, if it's something that you want to pick up, I don't think you're going to be overly disappointed with it, and you'll probably enjoy it. It looks sharp, it runs fast, and it feels very much like a premium flagship phone whenever you're using it. All right, so here we are with the OnePlus 8. Now, as you saw in the little intro and all that other cool stuff, it has a lot of things going for it. It's got the latest Snapdragon processor, the 865. It's got 5G. So it's not the millimeter wave technology like Verizon has, unless you get the Verizon model, that gives you the gigahertz speed or gigabit speed. This one is like sub 5G, sub 5G, if that's what they call it. Either way, it's a little bit faster than LTE. I got some decent download speeds and some really good upload speeds. I got over 30 megabits per second on an upload one day on a speed test, and that's just mind-blowing. That's faster than what I have on my home modem with my gigabit technology speed cable modem. And I actually pay for the service, so it was really surprising to me. Now, as far as performance, it works great. It's got 8 gigabytes of RAM. It only has 128 gigabytes of storage, which is a little frustrating because you cannot expand the SD card slot storage. Now, if you watched my unboxing video, you saw the SIM tray pops out. It only holds one SIM. It doesn't hold 2 SIMs, and it doesn't have spot for SD storage. So that is one of the things I have to ding it on. Now, it has a beautiful AMOLED display. It's 6.55 inches. It looks great. I mean, the form factor on this is my favorite form factor phone of 2020 so far. It's sleek. It's basically the way I describe it to people, because even on the back, it looks very much like the OnePlus 7 Pro, which I loved last year. So I tell people it looks like the OnePlus 7 Pro decided to go to the gym for a couple of weeks, shed a couple pounds, come out looking his best with the summer beach body, and that's what you get with the 8 Pro. Very sleek. Feels great in the hand, well balanced. Now, it's missing a couple things on here that you would expect at a 2020 phone at $700. It doesn't have wireless charging. Now, there's two different ways to look at that. They said that they didn't want to put wireless charging in a phone until they could get faster speeds like they did with the OnePlus 8 Pro, which has like the 30-watt wireless charging, the same as the Warp charger, which this does come with. It comes with the regular Warp charger. You can plug it in. You're supposed to get like 50% battery in like 25 minutes. It's ludicrous. ludicrous speed, even if you've seen Spaceballs, funny movie, go watch it. So yeah, it charges up really fast, but there's no wireless charging. Now, there's something I need to address with the water and dust certification. So if you buy one in the United States from a carrier, it has IP68 dust and water resistance. That means you can take your phone, put it in the water, fully submerge it. This one's not fully submerged. Actually, it's funny, I got this Stein when I was in Germany on a deployment. I stopped off there back in 2010. So this is the first time I've actually used it. But I figure, hey, why not throw a phone in there? So it'll go in there for you can put it in, submerge it in water for up to 1.5 meters for half an hour. So we're perfectly safe in here. I didn't have a big enough glass to cover the phone, but you get the picture. If you paid attention to the OnePlus 7 Pro last year, then you know that they threw it in a bucket, they put water in it, they said it's basically, IP dust and water resistant certified, but it's not, because it's like an extra $100 added to the phone price to get that. So, I mean, who really cares? And I was totally fine with that, because typically I don't go around throwing my phone in the water, filling up a Stein and dropping my phone in. It's going to sit there for a minute just while we talk. So yeah, if you care about that, buy one from a carrier, not the unlocked model. I mean, you could probably still do that with the unlocked model, but it's not certified. So 8 gigabytes of RAM. They do have a more expensive model that has 12 gigabytes of RAM and bumps up to 256 gigabytes of storage instead of 128. Now, on the back here, you can see it's got 3 cameras on it. So it's got a macro lens, it's got a primary lens, and it's got a wide angle lens camera on it. They're okay. And that's one of the points of contention that I have with this phone. Overall, I was not impressed with the selfie camera. Low light mostly looks like garbage. It does not look like a 48 megapixel camera at all, which is the primary shooter. And then the macro lens is only 2 megapixels, which is really odd because it's a step down from the OnePlus 7T that came out at the end of this last year that had a better macro lens camera, and the OnePlus 8 Pro has a better macro lens. So why they gave us this potato 2 megapixel macro lens camera, I don't know. It's beyond me. But you can look and see some of these pictures. It does take all right photos when you're outside, but there are some significant discrepancies when it comes to the macro lens, and it's just, yeah, there's no way around it to eyewash it. I was not impressed with it at all. Now, the wide angle 16 megapixel camera, which is the third in the trio, it does work pretty good as well, and I like wide angle photography. And the nice thing is yeah, they opted not to put a telephoto. I mean, that's fine. They didn't want to put 4 cameras on the back. I don't blame them for $700, but it has the option on the camera interface. Whenever you tap on it, it'll digitally zoom in. And really, with the way megapixels and sensors and camera technology is, 2 times zoom on a digital zoom, it looks almost as good as a telephoto. So you're not going to miss too much in that regard. But really, like I said, selfies, not impressed. Low light photos, not impressed. Macro lens photography, not impressed. So those are 3 of the OnePlus minuses for this phone. The other thing that irks me is the battery life. Now, it has a 4,300 milliamp battery, which is sitting in the water right now in my Stein. It's manageable. Here's the thing. It's got a 5G antenna in it, which is going to suck up the battery. And the Snapdragon 865 is also good at consuming power. So I tested this out, and I barely got over 4 hours. I got close to 5 hours with 6% battery left. You can see the little percentage thing here. I uploaded this yesterday to Twitter, and I had some conversation about it with people. The battery life is not impressive at all. And that's the other thing that irks me a lot, because here, yes, I use my iPhone SE a lot, and it has an 1821 milliamp battery in it, which gets me 5 to 6 hours of screen on time by the time I hit 10% battery left. Of course, it has all the stuff in there for the battery saving, and it turns the brightness down and it auto adapts and things like that, which is cool. I'm all right with that. I did not use adaptive brightness on this phone. I hate adaptive brightness on Androids. It irks me. It's always too dim. So I did not have adaptive brightness on. I had 90 hertz enabled, and I left the brightness turned up, at like that 85% mark before it gets to the little last section that says leaving it on this brightness too long will, burn up the battery, blah, blah, blah. But having said all that, I was barely getting 4.5 to 5 hours of screen on time, whether I used 5G or whether I disabled 5G. And I actually disabled 5G, use it all day long, and still barely squeaked out about 5 hours. Yeah, that would have been great like 3 or 4 years ago, but in the year 2020 with a 4,300 milliamp battery, that's really not good. And I've seen some other people that have the Pro, they say that they've gotten better battery life, and I've seen people that use the OnePlus 8 that say they've got better battery life, but I also had people that said, yeah, I'm getting the same thing as you, I'm not impressed. So it really, your mileage is going to vary a lot on how you use it. If you do a lot of media consumption, if you leave the screen on a lot, that's what, the standby time is phenomenal. But it's that screen on time that gets you. And I would expect with the 4,300 milliamp battery that I should get more than 4.5 to 5 hours of screen on time. So that's the other big ding that I have for it. But yeah, the other thing is, we'll go ahead and take this out of the water now. So all I have is this mask to wipe it off with. Actually, it cleaned off real quick. So another thing I like about this phone is the infrared fingerprint sensor that's built into the screen. It works like a champ. And I just took it out of the water too. And usually that's a big problem. We'll go ahead and dip my thumb in the water there. So we'll try this again. Got some water on my thumb now. Even with some water on your thumb, it still works a lot better than it used to. So like with the 6T, it was very fickle, especially if you had water on the screen at all. It wouldn't want to read it. So there's been a lot of changes and a lot of progress that's been made with this phone when it comes to the fingerprint sensor. I like it so much better than the ultrasonic fingerprint sensor on the Samsung, which of course, yes, it is more secure, but it also is very unreliable, and I just don't like it. You have to press real hard on the screen, problems with screen protectors, all that stuff. One other thing that irks me about this phone is the facial recognition. I made a whole video on this because it really bothers me. Facial recognition, yes, I know it doesn't do the full in-depth facial scanning, infrared, all that crazy stuff like you get with an Apple with Face ID or like you get with the Pixel 4 devices that's super secure, unless your eyes are closed with the Pixel. But I think they might have finally got that worked out. With this one, I made a whole video and I went out and I realized that when I had my face mask on, it was still scanning up and opening it. Some people say maybe that's by design, some people say that's convenient, but I fundamentally have an issue if the facial recognition can't see half my face and it's still unlocking. Sure, it's still pretty secure. I mean, somebody's gonna have to get your phone and they're gonna have to have your eye or eyes open and pointed at you to get it to unlock, but fundamentally, I mean, just at a foundational level, that is concerning to me. But the other thing that gets me is I did some other test footage where you can cover your whole face, this whole side of your face right here, and you can only see this side, and it will still unlock. So yeah, it unlocked. I mean, it unlocked again. So people are like, oh, it's the eye spacing. Everybody's eyes are different, blah, blah, blah. If you can't see one eye, I mean, how in the world is it really all that secure? So I did actually print out a piece of paper. It wasn't in color, it was in black and white. I tried blowing up images and testing it out that way. I couldn't seem to fool it, but at the same time, the fact that it can only see like 40% of my face in one eye is not very assuring when it comes to that. So some people differ on that. There you have it. So it's great for gaming. It's great for media consumption. It's got HDR10+. It's HDR certified for Netflix, so you can get beautiful, bright, great-looking stuff. If you pay for the upgraded subscription, so you can get the 4K and all that stuff. At the 720p, 480p, all that range, you're not going to notice it. It's super fast. It's running the Oxygen OS version of Android 10. Super, super fast. I mean, there's like no time with the page flipping. It's so quick, and a lot of people really love it for that. The security updates, they're not as fast as I would like them to be. I believe this one is still on an April security update, and here we are in May. Yeah, it's got an April 1st security patch update, and before that, I think it was like February. They're not giving out, I don't think, monthly security updates on this. I think it's bi-monthly, which I think is still okay for most companies, and they are apt to push out software updates. They're much better at software updates than they are security updates, but either way, I mean, I guess it's secure enough. I mean, it's a $699 phone. It's OnePlus, and it's still pretty much up there with Samsung. So I can't complain too much about those things. The only ones that are really the best with that, of course, are like Pixel, because they're Google. But I've really enjoyed the phone, other than the battery life and other than the camera stuff. The IP rating, yeah, it's nice with this. The lack of wireless charging, I could absolutely care less. I'm really not a big wireless charger person, and at $699 with everything else you get in here, I've really enjoyed using this phone a lot. I like it. I enjoy using it. It's super fast. I was actually considering ditching my LG V60 for this one. The LG V60 is nice. It's a great, flagship phone. Some people call it a mid-tier phone, whatever. I still consider this mostly a flagship tier phone just because of what's under the hood. It's like going out, and some people say that, okay, the OnePlus 8 Pro is a flagship. And yes, it's the standard bearing best phone they make. Of course, that meets and satisfies the definition of flagship. But with this one, you get the same screen technology, essentially. I mean, it's got 90 hertz instead of 120. It is kind of curious to me why they only put 90. I feel like they probably just turned it down. They could probably enable a setting in here and make it 120. But the battery life is already not good with 90, so I'm not going to push my luck. And it looks really good with 90. I've got a Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra. I use that, the 120 hertz. Yeah, maybe you can notice a little bit of a difference, but whatever. There's a big noticeable difference between 60 and 90 hertz. Beautiful display. It's super fast. It feels so good in the hand. And that leads me to another complaint that I have is accessories. You're hard pressed to find any legitimate accessories for these things. Yeah, you can find some on Amazon. I think they might have a Spigen and a Caseology case out there now. There's not a whole lot of cases out there, not a whole lot of screen protectors. So I wish there were more, but there just aren't. And there are more for the 8 Pro than there are for the 8 from what I've seen. I accidentally ordered an 8 Pro case and had it sent thinking I was getting the 8. So having said all that, I think it's worth $699. I'm hoping that maybe with some software improvements that the camera quality might get better. They'll work out some of the kinks, but still, with that 2 megapixel macro sensor, it's only going to get so much better. With the 48 megapixel primary shooter, it can take some decent photos. You're going to not have any problems with this phone. And I think most people will probably enjoy it, especially at $699. There are some hangups for me. I'm probably not going to use this as my daily driver after this. I've enjoyed it, but yeah, $699, the camera, the battery life, it just kind of irks me. So that's all I've got on my review of the OnePlus 8. It's a solid option. It's a really good phone you can get for $699 at T-Mobile, just as long as you remember those couple of asterisks there and go into it knowing, there's a little bit of a diminished quality in this versus the 8 Pro. And some of it I think is arbitrary just to make the 8 Pro look better. That's just my own personal insight on the whole debacle. But looks nice. It's available in this black color and the interstellar glow, which you can watch some other videos and see what that looks like. It looks okay. It looks much better on video than it does in person, which is why I went with this one. This black one looks super sleek. I really love the way it looks. And if you get it unlocked, I think it comes in the green color as well. So that's all I've got. I know this review is a little bit longer than usual, but I really put a lot of time and effort into this. I've used it extensively. I've killed the battery almost every day this week, testing out the battery life stuff and testing out. You saw there's a lot of camera samples. So hopefully it's been helpful. Hopefully it's something that if you're interested in, this answers some questions for you if you want to go out and pick one up. And yeah, that's all I got. So thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button like I said in the beginning. If you enjoyed the video, I hope you come back and watch some more stuff and hope to have you back. So that's all I've got. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.